What's going on, fellas? And before I start the video, I just want to let you guys know, if you ever want to drop in and say hello, a great way to do that is my Twitter and my Discord server, both of which are in the description below. And now, with a little help from my friends, I'm going to be ranking the failed U.S. presidential candidates on a tier list. And with me are my friends Alan and Miles.
Hi.
Hello.
Alright, so where do you guys want to start?
It does really.
I think I'd like to start at Clinton for 2016, just as a benchmark.
And as the video progresses, you'll see that Miles leans more to the Democratic side of the aisle, and Alan the opposite. So
What?
I was saying how
No. That's what I used to be. No, I mean economically I'm more left wing, but culturally I'm more right wing.
Well, yeah, but Miles is definitely the moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
Just from his Twitter alone.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go with that.
Where do you guys want to start?
Yeah, I think
Clinton.
we'll start at Clinton just as a sort of easy, it happened in 2016. It's more recent.
Not
I
gonna
don't
lie,
Can't.
I'd put her in D at the best.
Yeah.
Because she
I
was
put her in
terrible.
D too.
She had the other candidate was widely hated and despised, and the only reason why she lost is because she was so boring and even more hated. She had a golden opportunity in 2016, and she ruined it. She was so boring. I mean, I watched a video a while ago. I think it was by Question Time, if you ever heard of him, and he was going over their campaigns. And they were both talking about infrastructure, and which is a very boring subject. And Trump made it sound interesting while Clinton kept going on and on and on. She was just so boring.
Yeah.
I think as far as how they ran their campaigns, which is how I like to judge my candidates on.
Here's what I'm.
Clinton had the same problem. Well,
I'm judging their campaign and if I just generally like their policies or not, or their candidacy, whatever you want to call it. But that's the two factors I'm really using. Clinton was just. I think almost everybody agrees with that. Nobody likes her. Name somebody that likes her. I don't even think Bill Clinton voted for her. She ran a campaign and nobody likes her. She could have very easily beaten Trump if she just.
Yeah,
fair, nobody liked anybody in 2016.
Yeah, no, it was the lesser of four evils because the third-party candidates weren't that great either.
Yeah.
So I'd say as far as campaigns, I like to rank my candidates based on how they ran their campaigns. Clinton didn't have the best campaign strategy from the start. While she won the primaries, she won them pretty narrowly by the skin of her teeth, and she had a candidate. She was against a candidate, Bernie Sanders, who had an energized, a really energetic crowd who were really pulling for him the whole primary season. Went all the way pretty much up right until the convention, basically. And they kept hating on him after that. And she didn't reach out to his left-wing base at all. She basically said, Ruin, I'm going to try to go based on just an anti-Trump platform, excoriating him on his comments.
And I mean, it's not like people didn't vote for her either. She won the popular vote, but she just wasn't a great candidate. So, you guys agree with D?
D.
And she didn't do outreach in key states either. She, that's a common fact. I think everybody knows about Clinton, so I'm just going to shut up. Everybody knows about her. Everybody did the postmortems already. I'm not going to contribute to that anymore.
Why don't we go all the way back? Let's do an oldies candidate, maybe one of these guys.
Let's go with. I'm gonna have to do some surfing up.
Yeah, one of the reasons I brought on these guys because I don't know, probably a good fourth of these guys.
How about? I know Tilden is right next to Dewey.
This guy,
Samuel
or
Tilden.
this guy?
Yeah,
this guy.
To the left.
To the left.
Yeah. To the
what
left.
Year did he run?
He ran in 1876, so you already know that's going to be batshit crazy.
1876.
Yeah, that was the most contentious election in American history.
Oh yeah, was that the one with who was the other one?
Vote fraud.
Hayes.
That was Tilden
Hayes.
versus
Yes.
Yeah. So Okay, Tilden managed to win New York. He ran a really good campaign, won the popular vote, but there was massive fraud and just holy
Yeah,
chaos in
it,
the southern states.
yeah, it
And
was
then
brutal.
there ended up being a compromise. Democrats didn't like Reconstruction. Republicans liked Reconstruction, but they ended the Reconstruction policies in the South in order to get a win for Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yeah, it was bullshit. It was
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
That
So I'd rank him.
he should have won.
Yeah, so I'd rank him at like a maybe a C or B tier. He
I
didn't
think
win.
honestly B tier.
Alright,
Because
Yeah,
he
B
should.
tier is better.
I
Because he
trust
managed to
you.
get through New York.
I trust both of your opinions because I don't know anything about this guy. So we'll put him in a solid B for right now.
He wasn't outstanding, but he definitely got screwed the hell over.
All right, so
Yeah, we can put Wallace at F.
all right, so George Wallace. I mean, he was hated so much that he got shot during his campaign. So, and he's a major racist. So
He ran multiple campaigns. Yeah,
yeah,
so
he ran dozens of campaigns, and he got
he's just
shot
a
during one of
shitty
them.
person in general.
Nobody likes him.
No one likes him.
Let's do. How about let's
Alright.
do? How about?
Do out Gore.
Let's do Barry Goldwater.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
let's do Barry Goldwater. Okay, so let me provide a little bit of background. Goldwater is a conservative senator from Arizona. Well, actually, in a modern context, not really conservative, just very libertarian.
He's
Yeah,
probably liberal.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
say
because he
libertarian.
wasn't opposed to
Definitely
gay rights.
hard right for the time
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, but as far as modern context, he was pro-gay rights, pro-abortion rights. He had a lot of choice things to say on the Republican Party and its increasing involvement with the evangelical movement and white Christians in the South. And he said that it shouldn't become a religious organization, which is basically what it has become. There's a lot of right-wing pastors and stuff. I mean, I would know if I go to a Methodist church in the South, and it's very conservative. A lot of them are Republican conservative people, and I'm not. So Barry Goldwater, as far as his campaign in '64, he shot himself in the foot. He ran against Social Security, the New Deal, the Great Society programs.
Nuclear weapons, advocated for nuclear weapons. I mean,
Yeah, and LBJ ran a really tough scorched earth campaign against them. Daisy ad, the
The Daisy ad. But the one thing
Yeah.
I would like to add is that after his campaign, he sort of shaped the new Republican Party that would come for decades.
Yeah.
He
definitely
made the Republican Party popular again, even though he didn't win.
Yeah, as far as campaigns, I don't want to go past 64.
Yeah.
I want to rank him entirely in 64, just on his presidential campaign. If we're going to
Generally, I like to rank overall, but a majority of that would definitely be 64.
Yeah, so I'd say as far as 64, I don't want to go past election results. I'd put him at a D tier.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A solid B tier.
Because he got walloped.
Ahead of this
D
dude.
tier. D.
Oh, D? I thought B, honestly.
D because
we'll compromise.
he lost in a
C
land-
tier. We'll do C tier.
I'm fine with C. He built a movement, but he lost in a landslide.
All right.
He did pay-
How about William Jennings Bryan, the poor dude?
S tier.
Dude got nominated for the Democratic Party 3 separate times and lost.
Yeah, I know. No,
Poor dude.
I just love him, dude. He's definitely not S tier. I just love him.
I mean, he clearly did something right. He got nominated 3 different times for a major political party.
Yes, but in the general election, he lost.
His appeal too much to. He just couldn't broaden his appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My opinion, solid B tier.
I love this man, so yes, B tier is good enough.
All right. Head of this guy.
Okay. How about
any of you guys know these 4?
Yes. Who do you want me to start with?
And any of them.
Charles Coatsworth Pinkney. He's next to Dewey.
Okay. All right, this
He
guy.
ran a bunch of times. He ran against Madison.
Yeah, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he ran against Madison, I think, twice. And I think he ran one more time. I think. I know he ran at least twice, at the very least. But yeah, so he just wasn't that appealing.
No.
He lost every. He was a Federalist, and they were just a dead party. He got 32% in his best election.
32%?
Yeah, but you also have to realize that he was against Jefferson and Madison. And
so, just uninspiring.
He just wasn't that good of a candidate.
Uninspiring, so.
I mean, it's simple as that. He just wasn't that good.
How about, let's do John Kerry next.
I want to kind of do more of the older guys and then get into the moderate guys, because then that leaves when we do the older guys, we don't spend as much time, and so we'll have more time later for the more modern guys.
Let's do Blaine, James Blaine. He ran against Cleveland.
Oh, James G. Blaine. Yeah, he ran against Cleveland.
Yeah,
Where's Grover at?
No, not Grover. Blaine. He's next to. Okay, you see where John McClellan is?
No.
Okay, look at the bottom row.
Yeah.
And then fifth bottom row.
Oh, this dude, yeah, I have no idea who that dude is.
All right, well, he was just really corrupt. I mean, he was governor.
Are we talking like Harding levels of corrupt?
I would probably say so. Like,
all right.
Basically, he was actually doing fairly all right at first, but when a lot of his corruption got exposed, many Republicans left his campaign and just became a disaster. He's not F tier, but he's definitely, like, not good.
What do you think, Miles?
Yeah, I agree with Jack. Alan. Sorry. I agree with Alan's statement on that.
All right.
He's just he's D. I mean, he was bad.
Who should we do next?
Let's do Al Smith. He's next to Mondale, to the left.
Yeah, his face looks familiar. Who
I don't know much.
So he ran against Herbert Hoover, and he only won Southern electoral votes. He was the first Catholic to be nominated for president.
Oh, that's where I know him. Bro, MFs that lose to Herbert Hoover.
Yeah.
Herbert Hoover.
I think he's definitely not the best candidate. He only won Southern electoral votes. He's only one of 3 Democratic candidates to be nominated for president as Catholic.
The Republican Party was very, very popular.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They were
like Coolidge.
So, what are we thinking?
I'll probably say C. I mean, considering everything, it's probably at.
We'll do C.
I don't know much about him, to be fair, if I'm being honest.
He seems like a middle-of-the-road kind of candidate.
I don't think he would ever win, but, like, you have to consider how popular the Republicans were, especially Coolidge.
You know what I wonder? I wonder
who
why
was the
Jimmy
guy
Carter
that like got absolutely destroyed in like that one election in like the early 1900s? Like got utterly destroyed.
Oh, Alf Landon.
Yeah,
he's right next to Wendell Willkie. He's to his. Oh wait, no, is that? Yeah, that's Alf Landon, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
What row is he in?
First row. He's two to the left of Dukakis.
Yo, this guy. Yeah, he looks familiar.
He got obliterated.
Yeah, he got absolutely destroyed. Wasn't he, or was he? Who did he run against?
FDR.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was a guy that ran against FDR, but it wasn't Dewey.
Honestly, dude, he was terrible.
Can I step away for a second? I gotta take care of him.
All right. So,
honest,
what do you think, Alan?
I don't think he was absolutely horrible.
Actually, let me provide my opinion on Landon. Yeah, he got defeated in a blowout, but it was to be expected from president. He was basically a sacrificial lamb. FDR was so popular that nobody had a chance. Yeah, that's my expert opinion.
I'd probably say D. Like, he wasn't horrible, but like he didn't do like he could have done a little better. That's probably what I say.
Okay, don't move to another candidate yet. I just got to go deal with this quickly.
Yeah.
We'll do a small candidate because we gotta keep it churning. You pick Alan.
All right, let's go candidate because I have not a lot to provide on them.
Do Lewis Cass. You probably won't know who that is. He's next to Clay.
Hey, where's Henry Clay? Oh, this
he-
dude?
Yeah, that's Lewis Cass. All right,
Dude
I'll
got
tell you a
a
little.
big ass forehead, bro.
Dude, he did fairly all right when he ran. He didn't run a horrible. He's probably just C. I mean, he ran a solid campaign.
Dude's forehead looks like the size of the moon, bro.
Yeah. I mean, he won. He was against Zachary Taylor. Taylor
Taylor
Lewis
sucks, though.
okay,
He only
Taylor
won
was.
because he was a military man.
He only won because he was the military man.
Yeah.
The military man.
Bro,
No,
you
but,
can't beat
Cass
Zachary
actually-
Taylor. Like, you belong in D or F.
Yeah, I mean, Cass was fairly a fine candidate. Fairly fine.
All right.
That's probably how I would put it. He lost much. I mean, he kind of won everywhere. He won a little bit in England. He won a lot of the Midwest. Well, quote unquote Midwest. At the time, the Midwest. Whatever.
What are
it
you
was,
thinking for a ranking?
The Lewis Cass. I mean, what do you want from him? Lewis.
I'd argue C. Seems
He's
like a
some-
middle of the road kind of guy.
I mean, he's some ugly fuck, but
Yeah. Dude gets points docked for his big forehead. All right, let's do the man himself, Henry Clay.
Henry Clay.
How many times this dude ran?
Let's wait until he comes back.
All right.
We find somebody. Do McClellan.
George McClellan?
Yeah, he's next to Douglas.
Where's Douglas?
He's at second row, very, very to the end.
Oh, George McClellan.
Yeah, not John McClellan, George McClellan. Why was I thinking John? No,
I said George because I knew the name. I just couldn't put it on the face, and then I saw. So
I got it.
What are your thoughts?
Are you doing George McClellan?
Yup.
Yeah, he's the one who lost Lincoln in a landslide post-Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lincoln and Johnson had a unity ticket, National Union Party. They were it was the Republican and the Democrats that came together to form the National Union Party. It was a one-time party, he got defeated in a landslide basically, and it was pretty brutal.
I mean, he had it early on though.
As far as because it was Lincoln, I kind of do want to factor in his background because he was a general that wouldn't listen. He was very sort of he wasn't better than Grant, pretty much. He was probably one of the worst generals of the Civil War.
Yeah, he was a bad general.
Yeah. So
Not as bad
I
as
put him
Sherman
probably-
destroying all of Atlanta.
because I'm factoring in his past as the general in the Civil War, probably put him in the F tier. That's where he belongs.
That's All
right.
That's all. All right.
Let's do one of these
Do you want
dudes.
Hello, where? Okay. Do Seymour. Very right. Okay, Horatio.
Dude's also
Seymour.
got a moon forehead.
Horatio Seymour.
Yeah.
What election did he run in?
Okay, so he ran in
Dude's balding so much, bro.
68. He ran in 68.
1868. So that had to be against Johnson.
Grant.
Was it Grant
was-
or Johnson?
I'm pretty sure that was Grant. I'll recheck though. Let me recheck.
Lincoln was assassinated in 64.
1860. Let me take a look again. Yeah, it was Grant. Okay, I was.
All
right.
right, Grant.
He did awful. I mean, no. In the popular,
he kind of didn't have a chance. It was fucking the Ulysses S. Grant himself.
I mean, yeah, but he did good in the popular vote though. He just did awful for college.
He did good in New York. He won New York.
Seems like
Yeah.
a middle of the road kind of guy.
Yeah, middle of the road.
Yeah.
Middle of the road kind of guy.
That's probably the definition of middle of the road. Seymour. All right, so you know what? Let's do Let me get one of the irrelevant ones out of the way. Hugh Lawson White. For whatever reason, he's here. He's next to where Rufus King is, but he's two to the. He looks exactly like James Polk Second.
This guy?
No. Go to no. So Dewey, then go 3 over.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
he
don't know
looks
who this guy
exactly. Oh, this dude was literally a third party. I don't know why he's here.
is. Oh, this dude kind of looks like Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah, not him though.
Yeah, I know this guy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, whatever. Tier list. I don't know why he's here because he was just a third party, but whatever. Not like it matters much. He's just irrelevant.
That was what I was about to do.
Yeah, I mean, he was just irrelevant. That's all I can say about him. I know like nothing about him. I just know he was a third party. He was just irrelevant.
I don't know if that's how you spell irrelevant. I think that's how you spell it.
I don't know why they even included him on here. Let me tell you how much he got. He got 26 electoral votes, 9% of the popular vote. This is when Van Buren ran the first time.
Oh, Martin Van Buren.
Yeah, terrible president.
Can't even beat Van Buren.
Low key though, William Henry Harrison is S tier president because he didn't do anything bad.
What should we do next?
Okay, let's do Debs.
Eugene Debs.
The socialist. I mean,
he ran from prison once.
Yeah, kind of the guy you want for a third party, Yeah,
he did good. He did good for a third party. Dude.
Yeah,
he was.
I'd be so inclined as to put him in A tier. What do you guys think?
No.
Dude literally ran a campaign from prison.
True.
Name anyone else who's done that.
Put him in C.
I'd put him in A just for the fact that he ran from prison.
Compromise. Put him in B.
All right, put him in B tier.
Okay, but let me comment on Debs real quick. Like, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, Bernie's a socialist," even though he's a social democrat. Debs was legit a socialist.
Yeah.
Like, he was legit.
100% agreed.
Like Bernie, as far as people call him a socialist, like, have you seen his foreign policy? He's just exactly like the rest of his big, scary establishment.
He's a social
he takes
democrat.
Measured foreign policy action.
Okay,
and I think that bothers him a bit more. Like social.
Okay, let's do Douglas next. Let's do Douglas.
Douglas?
Yeah, let's do Douglas.
There's so many Douglases in politics. I don't know which one.
Mike, dude, you are so right. Bottom all the way to the right, then go to the left one.
This dude?
Go to the left.
Oh,
yeah.
Stephen A. Douglas. Yeah, dude who ran against Lincoln. He was kind of brave in that campaign because he went into
Who did he run against?
Lincoln.
Oh yeah. He ran against him the first time. The dude, the senator man, the racist.
My birthplace.
I want to make a comment on him because he did a very brave thing in 1860. He went into the South and traveled up and down the South, and he spoke out against secession.
And said black people should be slaves.
You mean 64?
In 1858, he said black people should be slaves, but then he said he did a very brave thing for a Democrat, and he spoke against secession because that was everybody knew it was probably going to happen. That was the national feeling at the point.
Yeah, very brave thing, trying to keep black people in chains.
Breckinridge was such a dick, dude. Breckinridge was a dick.
I mean, he kind of let a nobody beat him. Like, Lincoln was a nobody at the time. Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Well, Republicans knew who he was, and they were a very big part of the electorate up north.
I don't know what you guys think, but I'd put him in D, not for his policies, but just because he let Lincoln beat him.
I'd put him at C at best. Lincoln wasn't a nobody. Lincoln was not a nobody. He was nobody in the Republican primary, but after that, everybody knew his name. He was he led the anti-slavery wing. He was a very, he was a well-known Republican. People knew him after he was the nominee. And his name was plastered across the North. He ran a competitive campaign and he won.
Let's do Breckinridge. He's the top row next to Clay. Breckinridge was a fucking dick. I think if I remember correctly, he wanted to transatlantic slave trade. if I remember correctly.
Is it the balding dude or the giant ass forehead?
Giant ass forehead. Dude,
These dudes in their giant foreheads.
Yeah.
Right.
No, dude, he was such a dick. Reopen the transatlantic slave trade? Like, come on, dude. Like,
Where would you rank him, Alan?
Well, he's literally George Wallace of his time. Just put him in fucking F, dude. Like, he was so racist. Even for his time, he was so racist, dude. He swept the South, but, like, still.
Well, yeah, because they're a bunch of racists back then.
Yeah. Well, besides Tennessee and Virginia, he won everywhere else. So.
Let's do Henry Clay. What do you guys think?
Clay. So here's a few things you can say. You can say that he just simply got unlucky against the people he was running against. You can say that for one.
Dude was also corrupt.
Yes, I was about to get into that. But two, you could just say he was unlikable because of corruption. You say he's unlikable because of his personality. But, I don't think he's that, but he's not that good.
What do you
think, Miles? Oh, he's not here. Okay. Yeah, I'd probably say D for Clay. I mean,
what do you think, Miles?
I think
I agree with that one.
Okay.
All right, he's not here.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm thinking D. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. He wasn't F tier, but he definitely wasn't anywhere near the B or C tier. All right.
We do a modern candidate here.
Why does this guy's face look familiar?
That's Wendell Wilkie.
His face looks
Ran in
familiar.
1940.
Who is he? Wendell Wilkie. Who did he run against?
FDR.
That's why his face looks familiar.
Wilkie.
Thoughts and opinions?
Why does his name sound like he's on the brand of like a chocolate milk?
I think he was a newspaper producer, or no, I think that was Landon.
That was what I was about to say. That was Landon, but Wilkie, honestly, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't that bad of a candidate. I don't think he was that bad of a candidate.
He expanded their margins a little bit, but it was FDR put him in the C.
Okay, Wilkie was actually pretty moderate though, if we're really looking at it on the surface. I think he ran a fine campaign, and it just it's FDR. He lost. I think it was bound to happen.
Seems like a C tier kind of guy.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean,
sacrificial lamb, normal person.
Yeah, like he was bound to lose, but he didn't do that bad. That's probably my C tier anyway.
You should do Ben Harris next. Is he even on this list?
Huh? Who do you want to put it? Well, he became president.
Yeah.
I think they're including people who became president.
Is this Grover Cleveland?
Jimmy Carter isn't on this list either. Yeah.
Isn't this Grover Cleveland?
No, that's not Grover Cleveland.
That
I don't even
looks like Grover Cleveland.
It does too, but that's not.
Who is that dude then?
I have no idea if I'm being honest. If I don't know him, he's inconsiderate. Or
all right.
Whatever.
So, people in the comments who are smarter than me, if you know this guy, tell me a little bit about him and where you put him on the list. Just say, I know who the big mustache dude is. Here's what he did. But for right now, since none of us know him, and if Alan and Miles don't know who he is, then, I mean, that says a lot. So, is that not Grover Cleveland? Like, I'm pulling up a picture of Grover Cleveland on my phone right now. That dude looks like Grover Cleveland.
He kind of does. Yeah, he kind of does.
All right, yeah, he's not Grover Cleveland. I'm getting a second look. But like,
all right, let's do Winfield Scott. He is.
Well, hold on, but for right now, put this dude in irrelevant.
Yeah, put it relevant. Yeah, because I don't even know who he is. Look, I know a lot of American history, but I don't know who that dude is.
All right, who should we do next?
All right, let's do Winfield Scott. He's next. He's where Dewey is. To go to the right three.
I'm gonna say I don't know Winfield Scott, so be comment.
All right, Alan, blow us away.
All right, so Winfield Scott, he ran against Franklin Pierce.
Mr. Irrelevant?
he is kind of. I mean, he kind of is, but he did terrible in the electoral college, like awful. He did pretty all right. He did okay in the popular vote. I mean, he just wasn't that excited. I mean, he was. I don't know how to explain. He just wasn't that inspirational. I mean, he was going to lose anyway. You know, the Whig Party was dead. They were just losing elections. I'm putting him in D. I want to put him in F, but
I put him in irrelevant. The way you're describing him,
yeah, he is pretty irrelevant. All right, that's fine. Don't even worry about it. All right, so let's do Fremont. John C. Fremont.
Name seems familiar. Where is he?
Okay, so he is Dewey. Then go to the right 4.
I don't know his face, but his name seems familiar. Who do you run against?
Okay, go to the bottom.
Oh no, there's this dude. I know this dude.
No, not him. Go to the left one.
Oh, this dude?
No, left.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
any of these three. Their faces. Who do you run
I know
against?
2. I know. So Fremont, he ran against Buchanan. Honestly, he was pretty solid of a candidate, but he could have won. But Millard Fillmore took a lot of the vote.
Well, describe his policies for me and how he ran his campaign. That's what I want to know.
I think he was a radical Republican, if I remember. I mean, I don't know too much about him, but I've heard a lot of good. But he could have won if it wasn't for Fillmore. He ran his campaign well. It's just Fillmore kind of screwed him up. So
What do you think, Miles? Miles?
Too old, no comment. I haven't studied this one.
You don't know?
I don't really know too much about Fremont, if I'm being honest. But from what I've heard about him, I do kind of like him.
All right.
Let's put him in C, I guess. If I knew more about him, I'd be able to explain more. But
Put in a question mark for C. Put him in the middle. Question mark?
Yeah.
Who's next?
All right, let's do Here, Miles, you
William
pick.
Jennings Bryan.
William Jennings.
Yeah,
Jennings Bryan's right here.
Charles Evans. How about Charles Evans Hughes?
Charles Evans.
Yeah,
Is that this dude?
low key good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low key great candidate. He was a great candidate.
Yeah, he was a really good candidate. Okay, so I'll provide a little bit of background. He was Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, resigned in order to accept the Republican nomination against Woodrow Wilson. He ran a really competitive campaign. He almost won, but Wilson held on by 11 electoral votes. He screwed up in California, which was the deciding state in the election, because he didn't visit the state, and he wasn't very he wasn't very chummy with the governor, Hiram Johnson, who was a progressive Republican like Roosevelt. Although I believe, if I remember correctly, Hughes had the support of Roosevelt in 1916 in the election. He could have been president.
He was definitely there. I mean, he could have very well gotten. He low key probably A tier, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, A tier.
That's what I was thinking.
I think he's their first A tier candidate. Plus, Woodrow Wilson was a little iffy. He was very racist. I'm not a fan of Woodrow Wilson.
I'm a huge fan of Evans Hughes. I like him a lot. Not as much as Bryan, but I like him a lot. He was a good candidate, though. All right, so who we got next? Do they? Here, let me look his name up real quick. Do they have Palmer on? Not Coleman.
John C. Palmer.
Do they? Is he on there? Because I feel like I see him. I don't know. Maybe he is.
John C. Who?
Palmer. He was the gold candidate. I feel like he is on there. And I feel like I'm looking at somebody and I think it's him. But I have to look his name up to make sure that it actually is.
I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't even remember what he looks like, but I feel like I see him for some reason.
Alright, Miles, you pick a dude.
Yeah, you go ahead and
Hey,
pick one.
let's go with Dewey. I want to comment
All
on
right, we'll
Dewey
do
and talk
Thomas
about.
Dewey. What do you guys think of Thomas Dewey?
Okay,
Dewey.
so I have a lot to say because I know
You
a
go.
lot about Harry Truman, a lot about 1948. Harry Truman is my favorite president. Yeah, like I
Hands
said, I
up.
know a lot about 1948 and the
Mhm.
circumstances surrounding it. Thomas Dewey was governor in New York. He, like Truman, was pretty progressive on civil rights. He had a record of cracking down on a lot of mafia business in New York. Good anti-corruption record as a Republican governor in New York. So they nominated him in 1944 against Roosevelt. He
Then he
lost that
died.
election. Yeah. 1944 was basically just a replacement election.
Yup.
In 1948, Dewey got really complacent. Polling showed him ahead. A lot of polling showed him ahead. And national feelings were high for him because everybody thought he would win against Truman, who was unpopular. He did a lot of unpopular stuff that is now regarded as paramount to the survival of the United States. A lot of decisive action in the Cold War and in World War II, and a lot of decisive economic action as well. So Dewey got complacent in the polling because it showed him ahead against the then unpopular Harry Truman. He made a lot of speeches about unity. He had a lot of platitude in his speeches. He just wasn't too good of a candidate. He was good on the issues for
Good
his time.
speaker.
He supported also there's the record of the Republican Congress that dragged him down in the campaign because Truman went on the attack against the Republican Congress. He successfully made a connection between Dewey, a nominee who endorsed all of the ideas that Truman endorsed, but the Republican Congress sandbagged on them. So Truman made a really, really masterful political move, and he called Congress back into session and told the American people if they don't legislate on these issues, if they don't support these issues that Dewey supports, don't vote Republican. Vote me and vote the Democrats back into Congress. So I like Dewey as a person. There is nothing wrong with Tom Dewey as a person. He was a great person. Politically, he was great on the issues. But his campaign, which I rank people more on their campaign than how they are as a person. I think his campaign was probably pretty terrible, to be honest. It was competitive, but what he did with it wasn't very good. He had the infrastructure there. He didn't end up doing too well. The decisive states in 1948 were Illinois, Ohio, California, and Truman took all three. So I'd probably say Dewey is about a C or D candidate.
What do you think,
Probably
Alan?
C.
I mean,
I think-
okay, so I would probably. It's tough because it's either D plus or C minus for me, because I do like that he was a generally good guy and he wanted for best, but his campaign were awful.
His
I'm trying to
campaign was
balance-
terrible. He had it in the bag and he ruined it.
Yeah, he was. I think one of the things that you didn't mention was he was just too passive on the issues.
I would
Yeah,
agree.
I mentioned that.
Did
he
you?
was, yeah, I did
Okay.
because I said he endorsed all of these progressive issues. He endorsed all this legislation. Him and Harry Truman would have agreed on a lot, but the Republican Congress just sandbagged on these. So he was a little passive on it, and he always spoke about like unity. And I'm sure I'm sure I can get it done when I'm president. That's basically how he spoke. He said, "When I'm president, not if I am elected." He said,
Right.
"When and not if."
So I'm
And that's what
thinking
he
C.
Yeah, C. It
C
was
minus,
pretty good.
D plus. That's honestly C. I'll put him in C though. I'll give him some more
And
because I do
end
kind
of the line at C.
Yeah, end of C pretty much. Let's do here, Miles. Pick somebody from the bottom.
How about Cox from 1920? He's right on all the way to the left. John M. Cox.
Cox.
He either ran in 1924 and 1920. I think it was 1920 because that was when Roosevelt was the VP nominee.
It was 20.
It was 20?
It was
Okay.
20.
Yeah. Or actually,
Okay.
let me make a double check. I just want to
Cox was Harding.
1920.
He won the South, lost Tennessee, won Kentucky.
Oh no! That's not Cox. Cox is at the top.
Let's do Cox then. Let's do Cox.
Yeah,
then.
Cox is at the top, right next to Dukakis.
Yeah.
To the left.
Yep.
Okay. So do you want me to speak on him, or do you want him?
You
I'd
guys
rather
both
go-
can go. It's just whoever wants to go
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess I'll.
Yeah.
So he won the South, lost Tennessee, won Kentucky. I don't think that there is much. He was against a very, very popular Republican Party, against Warren G. Harding. Obviously we know he was an awful president, but for that time he was very popular. Cox campaign, not great, to be honest. He wasn't really able to fight against the return to normalcy, theme that Harding did campaign on. And, I mean, Harding, honestly, I'd say it's more of Cox just not running a good campaign. Because this was the first time that, since the end of Reconstruction, that Tennessee went red. And I think a lot of that has to do with just Cox just wasn't a good candidate. I'm putting him in D tier, possibly F, but I'll give him the upper edge, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, Cox. Okay, so he was up against Harding, who
Yeah.
was very popular. He was a great popular senator. Everybody regarded him as pretty good. Everybody wanted a return to normalcy. He didn't do anything with that. He was
awful.
He was just an awful candidate. Put him in D. He's not deserving of F. Put him in D for good measure.
All right.
For D, I guess.
Middle of the pack in D tier.
Man, dude, if you see the picture of the 1920 thing on Wikipedia and look at Roosevelt's picture, damn, he looks so young compared to what he was.
Oh, let me see.
He pulled down, but yeah, he looks a lot younger. But I mean, yeah, he was. But,
Yeah,
crazy.
he looks a lot. He looks a lot like Teddy, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, let's do let's do Al Smith.
I thought we already did Al Smith.
Did we?
Yeah, we already did.
Oh.
Yeah. Then let's do the white-haired dude.
Let's clear out the bottom row because besides
let's do
besides
Lafayette
him,
then.
these guys aren't that relevant.
Let's do Robert M. Lafayette, who is all the way on the left.
Yeah, his name.
He was a
seems
third-party
familiar.
candidate, Progressive Party from Wisconsin. He was a very progressive senator, fought for a lot of good policies. Very much a populist. Alan White's
Is
populist.
it Lafayette?
Lafayette.
Robert
Robert M. Lafayette.
I mean,
senator
for being
from Wisconsin.
being a third, it was a solid campaign. For being a third party, obviously.
He won Wisconsin in 1924. He was pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. It's La Follette. I'm an idiot. I just remembered it's La Follette.
Yeah. He got 16% nationwide. Solid run for a third party. 16% of the popular vote. He was.
What are you thinking, A or B?
A. Or no, B.
B. Probably say B plus is probably where he's at. B
plus. Pretty good performance for a third party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's clear out the bottom row.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so we got Horace Grassley. He's very to the left. I mean, not to the left, to the right. Horace Greeley, my bad. Horace Greeley.
Oh, that was the dude that ran in 72.
Right.
There was a lot of corruption in that election. He died before they could count the electoral college.
Yeah,
Oh, is
he was
that
a new
dude? Oh, yeah.
He found the
Yeah, if you look at the electoral vote map, it's even wilder than 1876 map.
Yeah,
let me just pull it up.
Which one is he, by the way? Because I don't know any of these guys in the bottom.
1872.
all the way bottom, all the way to the right.
Yeah, dude seems like he croak right after the election. Not gonna lie.
And he was a liberal Republican. Basically, if he didn't run, then the incumbent president would have just been unopposed. And yeah, all he was just trying to give Americans an option, basically. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put him in any of the bottom tiers. I'd just put him in
Would
like
you
C
say
tier.
irrelevant? Because you're saying like he didn't really have a chance. Is
Okay,
what you're
yeah. You
saying.
know what? Irrelevant works better because he was just
Yeah,
kind of there.
just
Yeah.
there. You know, not
Yeah.
not really a matter of substance.
Yeah. He
All right,
lost
let's continue clearing out the clearance aisle. Who should we do next?
All right. Henry. Not. Why the fuck did I say Henry? Crap. Why am I forgetting who he is? Rufus King. Yeah, let's do Rufus King.
Name seems familiar. Is it the middle dude?
No. Left.
Oh yeah, Rufus King.
Yeah.
Who do you run against? That name seems familiar.
Versus King. King was one of the early 1800s.
Yeah, he was one of the early 80s people. I don't think he was horrible. Now, granted, there are some things that you could say about him, like how do I phrase this? He had disadvantage, mostly just because of his party, just not being that popular. Just because of how much, the Democratic Republicans dominated. Because, they were just the dominant force. What else? I don't really know what else to say about him. He was just
there.
He was influential in, like, what he did, but, like, not when he ran for president.
So
He was
irrelevant.
He ran against Monroe. He was a Federalist.
Yeah. So if you ran against Monroe, he didn't really have that much of a chance.
No, he was.
Relevant.
Yeah, he's pretty irrelevant, to be honest.
All right.
The bottom. All right, bottom two. I generally. I feel like I know the dude on the left, and I forgot his name. But I feel like I know who he is. The dude on the right. I have no idea. Who is it?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah. The dude on the left, I feel like it's stuck on my tongue.
Irrelevant?
Both irrelevant.
Yeah, they're definitely relevant if I don't remember who they are.
What about this dude?
Yeah.
You don't know.
You don't
No,
know.
those are the two I was talking about. Yeah. All right. So we got this last tier.
All right. This is the row that matters, or most of the guys that matter. Start on the far right.
All right.
Okay, so you're gonna run in. That was the 1924 nominee. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check.
We're clearing out.
I'm gonna name John W. Davis.
John W. Davis. No idea who that guy is.
Yeah. He was basically just. Yeah, he was a former congressman, former ambassador, sacrificial lamb kind of guy. Gore is going to be reelected in a landslide.
Is weak.
Sacrificial lamb, C tier.
So you're saying he wasn't a great candidate?
Well,
He was kind of there.
yeah, he won all the South basically. He won every southern state, but it wasn't very
contested.
Let me see. Wait, let me see.
After this one, I know who we should do.
I'm clearing out the ones that aren't that important, so we can get into the real discussions. You're saying he's not a great candidate, is what you're saying?
Put him in D.
No, I'm just saying he was kind of there. He was just kind of.
He's kind of there, yeah. Then D tier. That's kind of what most of these guys are, except for like Clinton and this dude.
Okay, let's do Alton Parker. He's the mustache man.
Mustache man, the balding dude.
He ran against Teddy Roosevelt.
Ooh.
Swept the South. Got Kentucky. Just didn't stand a chance. Honestly, just didn't stand a chance. Campaign
was not that good, if I'm being honest. He lost the popular vote by 19%.
Yeesh. It's
He was
not
a
good.
chief judge from New York.
Usually the popular vote's in between like 5 to 7%, if that.
Yeah. He's not that good. He just pretty much this kind of like I support the status quo kind of guy. It's pretty much
Stinker.
kind of just a stinker, yeah, uninspiring. Either
All
you
right,
put him
let's do the final of the lesser importance that we've been cutting out the fat, the big forehead dude.
Let's do
This dude
DeWitt
right here.
Clinton.
Do this dude.
Yeah, Clinton low key had a chance to become president, and I just don't think it was ever gonna happen. But like, low key did a lot of good. When he was governor of New York, DeWitt Clinton, he just never really was able to really like reassemble himself to the top in a way. I don't really know if I want to describe it like that, but it's like he had potential to be like to win very easily, and he was just against James Madison. He did fairly well. He was just never able to get there, just because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
Low key, I think he's probably C or B. I think he's B, in my opinion. What do you think, Miles?
Which candidate is this again?
DeWitt Clinton.
DeWitt Clinton. Which election was he?
He was against James Madison.
James Madison. Okay, he basically is he one of these has no chance candidates in this era of good deal?
Low key, from what I've read about him, I like him a lot. He stood a legit chance. He just honestly, if he stood a chance.
You rate him. I have no comment.
I said C or B. I'll put him in B though. I just like him a lot, to be honest.
Lower B. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. Let's start with Alday Stevenson.
Adlai Stevenson against Eisenhower.
Yep.
Miles, you want to go?
Had a chance against Eisenhower. Eisenhower would win. They could make it competitive. Harry Truman went out and delivered speeches, got on the campaign trail just like he did in 1948. He did a lot for Adlai Stevenson. And it could have been competitive, but it wasn't
not
at the end of that.
He just seems so boring.
Yeah. Put him in C tier. He was good, but mediocre.
He was all right, but it's like he didn't use what he had to the maximum potential. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Okay, how about
Hubert Horatio Humphrey?
Okay, I like Hubert Humphrey.
My favorite part, I think it was Jimmy Carter, that like during the DNC, he called him Hubert Horatio Hornblower. I think that was Carter. It might have been someone else, but someone called him Hornblower.
I love Humphrey. So, 68.
Yep, against Nixon.
Okay,
Yeah.
Can I just say...
Miles, you go ahead on this one. I know you're pretty passionate about him, so...
Okay, so Hubert Humphrey was just a great guy all around. Great senator, great Democrat, did great things as vice president. He was a great nominee.
Terrific.
He had a great... I think his VP choice of Muskie, it should have been Kennedy, or either Kennedy or who was the other one?
Muskie wasn't that strong of a vice presidential candidate.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, really, if we're being honest. I don't really think...
I think it should have been Connolly or maybe Connolly or Kennedy. Someone who was a little bit more moderate to appeal to people. But he got really screwed over by Nixon and by Wallace. Because Wallace took the southern states and Nixon violated the Logan Act during the campaign because he had an operative that sabotaged the Vietnam peace talks. And also Nixon refused to do a debate. He just seriously screwed him over a lot. But he did violate the law in order to win the presidency. in the
Honestly,
screw over.
Watergate.
Yeah, and Watergate too. He was just a very corrupt person.
Yeah.
Humphrey was a good person, a good candidate, and I would rate him very highly.
Would we say A tier?
Honestly, okay. Let me add a little bit of Humphrey. A lot of it was just also, and I think you may or may not have mentioned this, but the anti-war vote.
Oh yeah, the protests in the national. Yeah. I did forget to include that. Thank you for reminding me.
I mean,
He should have called for. He should have called for an absolute bombing halt.
Yes.
He should have done.
He also just wasn't able to get enough of the anti-war vote that he needed.
Yeah,
I mean, granted,
he also needed to be competitive with Nixon on economic issues, on new urban issues that were coming out after the Great Society talk. The Great Society legislation after the Johnson administration.
But
He could have reached. He could have reached out to a lot of voters if he went to the table with Nixon on economic issues. He should have done that a lot. He should have staked out liberal positions. He should have reached out to union voters in the cities. Should have reached out to urban voters. Yeah. I think the anti-war vote really swung this election. Should have called for a bombing halt in Vietnam. Should have called for unity in the Democratic Party. And he should have called for an end to violence.
So, are we saying A tier?
Yeah, I think he was an A tier person. If not, if we need a compromise, then B tier.
I'd say A tier.
Yeah, I guess. All right, let's put him in the A tier then. I mean, I really like him, so I don't have a problem with it. All right, so who we put? Let's do Ross Perot.
Ross Perot had a great.
So I think, in my personal opinion, I think Ross Perot is S tier. He's everything you want in a third party candidate. He's got different aspects from different elements from both of the political parties and even his own opinions. At one point, he was literally leading the polls from both Bush and Clinton. Perot had his he was not defined by a party. He was his own thing. His own policies. He had different policies in the economics, gun rights. He was all over the place, and people loved him because he was a real, genuine person. Just the fact that he dropped out and then came right back in was the major reason why he lost all that momentum. So, in my personal opinion, I would put him in S tier. He is the perfect candidate. It's just the fact that he was a third-party candidate.
Okay, can I snowbox a little bit more?
The fact that he to win outright first place is absolutely insane. And yes, S tier.
Yeah. He had a great performance for a third-party candidate. He won a lot of counties. He made the race competitive to where both candidates only won by pluralities. The only state where a candidate won an absolute majority of the vote was Clinton, and I think he only won like 50% or just above 50%. And Ross Perot led in a few polls, and he was very much a moderate person. He tried to reach out to a lot of Americans with a good appeal. I kind of think he wasn't very qualified to be president. I don't think private citizens, if they aren't former government officials, then they shouldn't be president. If they have to have some form of government experience that is comprehensive and run, they have to have a record. They should not be just absolute private citizens running for president.
They should have added Kanye.
So, but I'm not here to rank him on qualifications. I'm here to rank him on for performance, and he had a great performance for a third-party candidate. He is everything you want in a third-party candidate for the presidency, and he managed to capture a good part of the popular vote and start a movement that turned into the Reform Party.
Perot, terrific. Put him in S tier.
Boom, done.
Very popular with the kids as well.
Yeah.
Forgot. Because of his humor.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do McGovern.
George McGovern. Where are we putting him?
Put him.
Huh?
Like I like him as a person.
He was not a great candidate. He sucked. Let's be real here.
Yeah, he sucked. Yeah. But even for me, he was too far left. He was just too far.
He was too. He ran into the youth movement, and he just sort of got too in with them a little much. He endorsed UBI too early when there were plenty of government programs to run on.
Yeah,
If
like
he-
Social Security.
If he moderated himself a bit and didn't pick Eagleton and instead picked another candidate, like let's say Muskie or another senator with some form of good experience, he could have made it a little bit competitive, and he could have made Watergate a bit more of an issue because we already had some rumblings on Watergate. He
look.
probably could have made it competitive if he tried a
He
little bit harder and didn't
What do
cozy
we
up more.
say? D tier?
Yeah, D tier.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. You can make a case for F, but I'll put him in D.
Michael
I mean, he's just not
Dukakis.
Okay, I have a lot to say about Dukakis because I've been reading about 1988. I've read a book called What It Takes by Richard Ben Kramer. I recommend it a lot. It's about 1988, and it's about 6 candidates in particular during the primaries. Dukakis, Gary Hart, Joe Biden, Dick Gephardt, Bob Dole, and George H.W. Bush. And it's about why they want to be president. It goes into their lives, their early life, where they grew up, how they grew up, stuff like that, what they're doing now. At the time when the book was written, he worked 2 years to get this book written. So he covers a lot of the primaries leading up, like the early primaries where they were looking for money and like super PACs setting up their campaigns. And then they go into like the actual primaries themselves. So Dukakis was very much a technocrat. He had a very technocratic record as governor. He played with taxes a lot, spending, tried to use new technology for advantage to get government easier for people.
In my opinion, with Dukakis, is that he was the reason that he failed. He had a good campaign during the summer, and then there was that whole tank issue. He's like, I'm a military man. He screwed that up. And then there was the death penalty question, and he completely butchered that. He showed absolutely no emotion whatsoever, and he just went into full politician mode, and I think that was his downfall.
I think he was very much obsessed with a little bit. He was kind of in the book it describes he was a very lonely person. He would become a very lonely person times during the campaign, and he would make wrong decisions. He was kind of misled.
Not gonna lie, I think he belongs in F tier.
I'd say D tier because I like his policy. I like his policies, and I like that he managed to get a somewhat competitive campaign going. He got a lead at some. I think he was mediocre.
A lot of the attacks that Bush put on him, he just had really no defense for. If you really think about it,
and they were phony attacks basically.
He was the downfall of his own campaign. So, in my humble opinion, he belongs in F tier. What do you guys think?
Bush was a dirty campaigner, and I think everybody knows that. He was pretty dirty.
Bush was a good. I like Bush because he was a very honest person. He was an admirable person, but he was just connected with dirty people, and that led him to do some pretty dirty shit.
Let's do Bob Dole.
Bob Dole ran in 1996, and that was the most irrelevant election in American history. It was Clinton's to win. He won it. He did really well. Bob Dole just faded into obscurity, and he knew he was going to lose, and he just sort of went on.
Bob Dole's candidacy. I think he was a great candidate. He was an upstanding guy. You know, he was just the guy with moral values.
By all accounts, he was a pretty good senator. He had a good record.
He couldn't, though. He was just really not that energetic. Just couldn't really. He couldn't
energize anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody was for Clinton, and put him in D.
I'd say B. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'd say
put him
B.
in D. He's not deserving of F.
I say up here.
D.
My opinion is up here. What do you think, Alan?
Okay, you like Bob Dole though. You like Bob Dole.
Yeah.
I think he was a great candidate.
Yeah, but his numbers don't prove that. Like, if you're going to say someone's a good candidate, you're saying more as a person. You're saying more on policy. You should have the numbers to back that up, and Bob Dole just doesn't have the numbers to back that up.
All right, we'll do
Clinton led in
D
basically.
plus,
Put him in C. Put him in C. Compromise.
C minus,
Fine, he was a mediocre candidate.
C minus.
Michael just likes Bob Dole.
All right,
Yeah.
Al Gore. Not gonna lie, I'd say I would make a case for S tier for Al Gore.
Yes, I would
Perfect
too.
candidate. The only reason he didn't win is because he distanced himself from Bill Clinton. That was the wrong move. Everything else he did right. He, except for the debates, he was a little, a locked box. Besides that, really good candidate. He just, he could, honestly, he could have won. We will never know. He could have won the presidency. There is a big case to make that he could have been the president. But we'll never know.
So,
George Bush was the president, and look where that got us. But as a candidate, I think he was a good candidate.
Here's my thing
okay,
about
so can I sit soapbox a little bit on Al Gore? I love Al Gore. He was such a great vice president. He had a great record. He fought for great policy. He was a technocrat like me. He was just great senator, great vice president. And he ran one of the best campaigns in modern politics, except for a few slip-ups that were to be decisive.
Okay, look.
I'll let you speak.
Just to say that him not tying himself to Clinton is part of a big few slip-ups, like, that was pretty big. Like, not times, like, that was pretty big. And, like,
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Look,
yeah.
I like him a lot, but I think just because of that, he's A tier.
I think he's an A tier. Absolutely, A tier.
I think A. Yep. I don't think you could put him in S. So just because of that, for that one reason, he's not S.
No, I think you can put him in
Walter Mondale. What are we thinking?
Mondale.
Wait. I have more to say about Al Gore.
One more thing to say about Gore. Go ahead.
He lost Florida by only 500 something votes. 538.
If he won Florida, he would have won.
537. He is not he was an S tier because he lost the state by such a small margin that it affected his electoral vote count, and he won the popular vote.
Tying himself
There
to
is
Clinton.
there is no reason to put him at A tier. He is deserving of the S tier because
What do we think, Alan? Should we bump him up?
Hey, go ahead. I do.
He easily
like him.
could have won.
He was pretty much the perfect candidate.
Go ahead. Yeah, why not?
All right,
He's
Walter
actually
Mondale. Where are we putting him?
Okay, one more thing about Gore.
All right, one
He
more
actually
thing.
A moderate to conservative record on like certain things like abortion, guns, stuff like that. Social issues, really. He's pretty moderate, even conservative on some of those issues. Okay, let's go.
Walter Mondale.
Miles.
Where are we putting him?
He really didn't do too well against Reagan. I mean, okay, Reagan was Reagan. He was really popular, very popular. You could not beat him. And especially with the Morning in America ad, his record, you cannot beat Ronald Reagan. And he did not. He lost a general election in all 50 states, and he's the only person ever to do that in American history. The only. And, but he was a good person. He was genuinely a great senator in Minnesota. He shaped a lot of the modern vice presidency as we know it.
Absolutely.
And
terrific vice president.
Yeah, absolutely terrific person. I just think his election record, losing a general election in all 50 states, and I have to say I can't blame him for losing in 2002. He was old by that point. He was probably just going to resign.
He ran in 2002?
Yeah, because Paul Wellstone died in a plane crash, so they ran him, and he lost narrowly.
Yep.
And basically, he was too old to fill the seat, and I think he was probably just going to resign after probably being a few days after being sworn in, just to say, thanks for electing me. But I think the new governor is going to have to appoint someone. And it was really just the last breath as he ran.
Yeah.
I cannot blame him for losing in Minnesota in 2002.
Yeah.
But his 1984 record is just not that good. I'd say he's probably B tier. He's probably B tier.
No,
Um,
F. He was terrible. Like you
he
said,
was not.
he lost in every single state.
Yeah,
Except-
but
Terrible.
I
I
know.
think-
Like he was a good person, but at the same time, like Miles has said,
It's not based on how they are as a person, because like
I do consider that a little bit, but not nearly as much.
I know,
as
but like if we were saying based on person, then all the people who were supportive of slaves would be an F tier. It's
Yeah,
not
okay,
based
so then-
on your
so then
moral
B tier.
compass. It's based on how you ran your campaign and a little bit of the results. So, in my opinion, F tier.
And this is the person who put Bob Dole at the C tier.
I thought he
So,
was a good candidate.
okay.
He lost.
Dude,
Big.
we're about to have like 1 hour debate on Bob Dole. All right.
Okay. I'm not about to get into all
I'd say
that.
F plus.
B minus.
Alan, you're the deciding vote. What are we doing?
Put him in D minus.
All
I
right,
guess.
D minus.
Give him an upper step just for being a good dude. All right. So let's see. We got
John
John
Kerry.
Oh, John Kerry. I like John Kerry. He had a great record as senator from Massachusetts. He was a good Secretary of State. That's just his background. In 2004, he was a strong candidate.
He won the popular vote.
No,
I
he
don't
lost
think-
the popular vote.
I
Was
don't
he-
think he was that good of a candidate at all, to be honest.
Wait, no,
was-
did he win the popular vote?
No, he
No.
didn't.
No, he
Oh.
did not.
He ran in a competitive election against an unpopular president. All of the exit polls up until Ohio had him winning the presidency. Ohio was the deciding state in 2004, and he would have won a narrow victory if not for a few thousands of votes.
Hey, look,
He was
Kerry-
a candidate more than people give him credit for. He, like I said, he ran a competitive campaign. I think John Edwards was not a presidential pick. We're not talking about that.
His
He had
domestic-
good-
His domestic policy was popular.
Yeah, his
But he-
domestic policy is pretty popular, but he fumbled
he
on
was-
Iraq. He fumbled
Yeah.
on Iraq.
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
that was-
Positively.
Yeah, and this
His
is a
national-
senator who had a pretty good foreign policy record overall. He was great at foreign policy. That was one of his strengths. He managed to uncover the first rumblings of Iran-Contra of a conspiracy with drugs in the United States as a young senator in the 1980s with the Reagan administration. And then he did great things, in foreign policy after that.
Okay, about 2004 right now.
Yeah, and he had good domestic policy. It was a competitive campaign. It was genuinely competitive. I mean, the president was unpopular. He won by 286 votes.
Hey,
An
for me,
incumbent
Kerry-
president,
for
a
me-
strong incumbent president, wins by 300 plus votes.
I mean, Kerry is just uninspiring, bland, relatively
Yeah.
popular. He was
Yeah,
just
so I'd put him at B or C tier. B minus is my pick.
Okay. What do you think, Michael?
C plus.
All right,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I can compromise at C plus.
All right, let's do Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney.
I think
Okay,
we should
I like
John
him now.
McCain because he came before Mitt Romney.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's do McCain.
Yeah, sure.
McCain
Yeah,
was a good person. A lot of people liked McCain, but his campaign did not go too well.
Okay.
It was competitive, but he pissed away his lead, any lead he had in
Look, okay.
September when the financial crisis happened because he suspended his campaign.
Let me
and
comment.
went- Okay, I'll let you comment.
Okay, save on McCain. Nobody was beating Obama in 2008 because of George Bush. Nobody was beating Obama. Anybody who says they would have is lying to themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Okay, let me read back.
I'm not
But
gonna lie.
Honestly,
John McCain was a pretty good candidate. He just fumbled it away, and when he Nominated Sarah
not even-
Palin for the vice president. That was just the first nail in the coffin.
No. Hot take. I'm about to say hot. Sarah Palin actually helped him in some states when it came to the South, and when it came to rural areas, she helped him.
But Joe Biden also helped Obama because he had that outreach in areas. So I think Sarah Palin gets canceled out. And then he pissed away his way to the financial crisis. That was a global crisis that he called a stupid meeting for, suspended his campaign for. And then he did nothing good on economic policy. He was just kind of a bit more
He was
liberal
just-
than Bush.
He was just a typical neocon. He was just that. I mean,
Yeah, like a typical Republican candidate, basically.
yeah, pretty
So I'd
much.
put
I
him
mean,
at C tier at best, C minus.
he was.
for me.
I mean, honestly, I think if it was like any other year, I think he would have definitely have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Any other?
so C or B is pretty good for him.
C minus.
I'm thinking right here.
Yeah.
And then
Okay, now Mitt
lastly,
Romney.
we have Mitt Romney.
Okay, so I like Mitt Romney now as a senator because he's got a little bit of democratic streak to him, and I like some of his. I like how he works with Democrats now in the Senate. Now
He was not a good.
2012. Yeah, he was not a good candidate.
No, he wasn't.
Obama was beatable in 2012.
I would say D tier, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
D tier.
Exactly where I'd put him.
Obama was beatable, but Mitt Romney did not have a lot of
Anything.
charisma. Yeah, he did not have anything going for him.
Honestly, he
and
was
Obama-
just. He was way too tied to the establishment. Just way
Yeah.
too tied.
Exactly.
And okay, so now that we're revisioning it over, why is Goldwater in C tier? Like, okay, I know he paved the way for, and he paved the way for the conservative movement in the 80s. But aren't we generally talking about the 64 campaign? Like, are we generally?
I think she should be D tier.
We moving him?
Yeah,
We
D.
should move. Because, like, okay, the reason he is an F is because he did pave the way for Reagan.
Yeah,
That's the reason.
but he deserves the D tier for losing in '64 by such a wide margin.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you for backing me up about that. Okay. Looking
All
at it
right,
again-
so this is our final rankings. A lot of guys in irrelevant. I don't know any of them. And I'm pretty confident in our list here.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good list. Definitely, Ross Perot is definitely the best failed presidential candidate, in my opinion, simply because of his policies and the way he conducted his campaign until he dropped out. And George Wallace is the worst failed candidate, in my opinion, because, well, he was a racist and he got shot. So
Breckinridge, though, I mean, he was bad. Breckinridge, though. I mean, yeah, okay. Those two are the worst. All right.
So let us know in the comments if you would change anything or redo anything. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that. And definitely scolding us for whoever we put in irrelevant. I don't know any of them. My bad.
Like, obviously, I think there's that you, like, swap around here and there or whatever.
Yeah.
But generally, I have a good list. Generally,
There's a few I would swap around. I'd
like
probably
on a
put
general basis.
more of the moderate candidate. I'd put a few more of the modern candidates towards the top. Maybe John Kerry at B.
I mean, like, okay, so you can say, okay, let me make a comment on this. You can say, oh, well, one candidate only lost by blah, blah, blah amount of votes. And then compare to this candidate. But you have to realize how, in a partisan era we are in right now. You know, nobody is going to win the popular vote by 15 points anymore. You will never see that anymore.
All right.
Ever.
So
Now,
let us know if you change anything down below. And you guys have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
yeah, just that. Like, yeah, just that.
All
Like
right.
I said. Okay.
Miles?
Peace.
Nope, I don't have anything.
All right. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this. Not my YouTube, I'm an idiot. My Discord, which both these guys are in if you want to talk to them. My Discord and my Twitter in the description below. Actually, I think my YouTube link is in the About section for some reason. I don't know why. But those are in the description. This has been ranking every single failed U.S. presidential candidate in a tier list, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.